Afternoon, members of council and staff. For those that are joining with us virtually, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us. It's Tuesday, April the 29th. Those that decided to skip their supper and join us here in the council chamber, welcome. All in attendance, I would remind you to please ensure your communication devices are shut off or placed on vibrate, please. Although yesterday was April the 28th, there was a lot on our minds in our municipality and the rest of the country. It also held a very important place for many throughout our community. It was the National Day of Mourning. It's a day that we recognize the tragic losses in our community caused by deaths, injuries, and illnesses that occur in the workplace throughout the country. If you're able, I would ask you to please rise as we observe a moment's silence in memory of those who have gone before us. Cherish their memory in our hearts. Meeting is will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as Anishinaabe. It's through the connection of Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, the water, and the air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all of life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Council, I would remind you, if you have a pecuniary interest, please declare it appropriately. Item 4, delegations. Clerk, anything been added to that?
Nothing added, Your Worship.
Thank you. Business arising from the previous meetings, I think that is shown up, clerk.
No, nothing this time, Your Worship.
Yeah. Okay, council, let's go to item 6.1. I have a motion by Councillor Vasey, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez. The report by Mackenzie Baird, planning technician, dated March the 25th, 2025, regarding a second house agreement request for 5124 Douglas Line be received and approved, subject to the following conditions. Proposed dwelling at 5124 Douglas Line comply with minimum distance separation, MDS policies, and requirements of the subject property. That the proposed dwelling at 5124 Douglas Line comply with all applicable laws and any applicable policies of the town, Plympton-Wyoming, and the county of Plympton, and that bylaw 29 of 2025 be taken as having been read 3 times and finally passed. The mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw. Any questions? Councilor Rodriguez.
Just 2 things. On the requirements. Get to it. On item 1. That the proposed dwelling comply with minimum distance separation policies and required policies and requirements for the subject property. I was wondering if we could add into there and going forward. And any other requirements necessary for the subject property prior to issuance of a building permit, just to cover all variables. I understand, because I did inquire about a few things from a member of the public who was inquiring with Mackenzie earlier. You did mention that this one does need some requirements, so I just wanted to cover all those bases that we are aware, that we make it clear, dotting your i's, crossing your t's.
Mackenzie, anything from you on that one?
I have nothing on that one. I'm comfortable adding that to the motion if council would prefer. I don't have any issues with it.
Ms. Nada?
Okay, number 2 covers that all applicable law and policies will cover everything before a building permit is issued, because the Building Code Act is applicable law and so is the Planning Act. That will cover it.
And minor variances and things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's just, okay, perfect, thank you. And then second question was map of the lands relating to the second house agreement. I understand you normally don't put a map in here because it's not known where the second house agreement will go, but just a view of the land in general might be nice.
I agree. We need to see where that house is going to be situated and notice the distances too.
Counselor Rossi?
Certainly staff would be amenable to a map of the property in question. However, if it requires a minor variance, it would be difficult to really provide the accurate description of the location of the proposed dwelling on the property.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, and I'm not asking for that, just a picture of this property with this house on it. A location, right, a visual.
Just with the existing dwelling.
Not any proposed locations, right?
Thank you.
Deputy?
No, sorry to disagree with you, but I would like to see the proposed location and approximate. It doesn't need to be exact. If it's going to require a minor variance, then that's when the actual distances should be.
Mr. Szymanski?
So with reports, drainage and other reports of this nature, we would put it what we would call a key plan. So when to form part of the agreement, it would just show the property in an aerial view and then a hatched area where that house could potentially go.
Yeah.
If we come forward with future requests of this nature, we'll ensure to include them just for council's knowledge.
That's good. Yes, sir.
May I approach? I have a map, an overhead map. You guys could just pass it around, just. I don't know if that helps right now, but if.
Sure, that would help us a lot.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, give it to the deputy first.
Yeah.
Another one in charge.
Good both.
Yeah.
Also, what do you think of that, Councilor Van Cleave?
Maybe just something that crossed my mind with the new provincial policy and multiple dwellings on a property. Is that gonna change our requirements moving forward? When it comes to an additional home, like, or maybe asking for permission to have an additional home, and then the requirement to tear that existing home down within a certain time frame.
I don't believe so, but I will defer to Scott for that answer, if I may.
Sure. If the second dwelling at this point, if it met the policies and that was the intent, then it could stay. But as of right now, they're asking for a new single family dwelling and their intention is to build that as their new primary dwelling and then demolition the existing dwelling.
And under the secondary dwelling regulations, there is requirements for that dwelling to be smaller than the primary dwelling, etc. So that would work if they're building a smaller house, but if they're upsizing, that likely would not work.
Fantastic, that's the answer there.
Sorry, I just have one more question. The 2 years, is that 2 years after the home is built to tear it down, or the whole process happens within 2 years?
It's typically 2 years from the signing of this agreement.
That the whole process happens, the new house is up and the second
Sign off.
other house goes down. Okay. Okay. Is this a picture of your existing?
May I approach?
Yes.
I'll show you.
Here's the house.
Oh.
Old house, good, right there.
So the existing would be. These dotted lines here,
Oh,
and then the distance between the two would be 15 feet.
okay. And this is your proposed.
Correct.
Nice, thank you.
So okay with that?
So do we amend it? Just going forward.
Moving forward. Any further questions? All those in favor? It's carried.
Thanks.
Welcome. Staff will be in touch. Okay, let's go to item number 7. Anything under that, clerk?
Well, that's nothing. Nope, nothing at this time.
Sounds great. Number 8, correspondence. Anything that's come in since our last?
Nothing from action required, your worship.
Okay, let's go to item 9.1. I have a motion by Councilor Van Claveren, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen. Correspondence items A to C. Relating to recommended reading and routine approval. Information items not otherwise addressed by resolution. Noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. That is A to C. To my left, anybody have anything? Am I right? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, new business planning. Councilor Bolgen,
Nothing related to planning, thank you.
Councilor Vacy,
Nothing, your worship.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you. I would just like to provide a notice of motion that at a future meeting. I would like to bring forward a resolution on Bill 5. The government's keeping us busy. And Bill 5 is titled Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025. It does amend several acts, provincial acts, but in particular, the Endangered Species Act of 2007 will be dismantled and new act will be called Conservation of Species 2025. So there's some concerning items in there. For example, being able to develop, get your permit ahead of doing stuff. Instead of looking at saving species within their own jurisdiction or ecoregion, they would focus and provide funding to areas that maybe not be viable for development and put their focus there to conserve land and increase habitation. But that area could be somewhere 12 hours up north and not down in our region. And then, so that's a concern. Environments. And among other things, they've reduced what they feel is habitat for a species in its area, pretty much down to the nest that it sits in. So, so those were a few items that I'd like to bring forward for council's consideration to support
At the next planning meeting.
in a future meeting. Hopefully the next one, because things move fast, but
We'll work on
Okay.
timing.
All right, don't rule that.
I don't have anything, sir.
Councilor Van Claveren, I'm sorry, you had a question?
Nadia, thank you. And would that be sent out for us to have a peek at before we discuss it?
It'll be,
this is why I provided a notice of motion, so that way it can get put on the agenda, and that way everybody can see.
Thank you. I've got nothing further. Mayor.
Nothing, thanks.
All right. I have nothing as well under planning. We do have time, and I know we're gonna go in camera after, but council, if you're okay, I'd like to take us in camera now, because we have 3/4 of an hour before the next meeting starts, so the motion somewhere on there, right?
yes, is it right there on top?
Yep, there, sorry, I didn't see it there. Motion by Councilor Van Claveren, seconded by Councilor Wolvette, the council move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001. It's amended for the following reasons. Item A, personal matters. Section 239, bracket 2, bracket B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. And B, employee matters. Section 239, bracket 2, bracket B, labor relations or employee negotiations. All those in favor? Carried. Those that are joining with us virtually, I thank you for being with us. We'll be back live at 6 o'clock.